The shimmering hull of the UNS Odyssey cut through the void like a blade, its sleek silver body reflecting the distant light of a yellow sun. Aboard the ship, Commander Elias Monroe stared at the vast expanse of space through the observation deck's reinforced viewport. His hands, calloused from years of service, rested on the rail as he contemplated their mission. Earth had been desperate for new resources since its expulsion from the Galactic Council 10 years earlier. The Council had controlled access to key technologies, trade routes, and habitable worlds, leaving Earth stranded. But if there was one thing humanity excelled at, it was survival. Now, aboard the Odyssey, they sought a discovery that could change their fate forever. "Commander, we're approaching the coordinates," said a voice behind him. It was Lieutenant Amara Voss, his second in command. Her piercing green eyes reflected both determination and caution. She handed him a tablet displaying the scans of their destination, a remote system at the edge of the galaxy. Elias nodded. "Any sign of life?" "Negative," Amara replied. "But the readings are unusual. There's a massive structure orbiting the fourth planet, metallic, artificial, and ancient. We're picking up faint energy signatures, but nothing that matches known patterns." Elias frowned. Humanity had stumbled upon alien relics before, usually ruins of long-dead civilizations, but the Council had fiercely guarded any significant discoveries, ensuring that humanity's access to advanced technology remained limited. Now, free of the Council's grip, Earth had begun its own search for artifacts that could tip the balance. "Take us closer," Elias ordered. "I want a full scan of that structure." The Odyssey glided toward the fourth planet, a barren gray world with no atmosphere and no visible signs of life. Orbiting it was the object of their interest, a colossal ring-shaped structure, kilometers wide, floating silently in the void. Its surface was etched with intricate patterns that pulsed faintly with blue light, like veins carrying an unknown energy. Elias and Amara stood on the bridge, watching the live feed from the ship's sensors. "Magnify," Elias said, leaning closer to the holographic display. The image zoomed in, revealing that the ring's surface was composed of interlocking panels, each adorned with strange glyphs. "It's definitely not natural," Amara murmured. "That's an understatement," said Dr. Lyra Chen, the ship's chief scientist, as she joined them. Her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun, and her lab coat was speckled with stains from her latest experiments. "This structure is unlike anything we've encountered. The energy readings suggest it's still functional, partially at least." Elias raised an eyebrow. "You're saying it's active?" "Barely," Lyra replied. "It's like a dying ember, but it's there. And here's the kicker. These energy signatures don't match any known technology in the Council's database. This could be pre-Council, maybe even pre-galactic." The weight of her words hung in the air. Pre-galactic civilizations were the stuff of legend, spoken of only in hushed tones by scholars. If this structure truly predated the Council, it could contain secrets that would catapult humanity ahead by centuries. The decision to investigate further was unanimous. A team was assembled: Elias, Amara, Lyra, and 2 security officers, Sergeant Darius Cade and Corporal Nia Torin. They boarded a shuttle and descended toward the structure, the Odyssey remaining on standby in orbit. As the shuttle approached, the scale of the ring became apparent. It was massive, its surface stretching beyond the horizon. The intricate patterns that had appeared faint from a distance now glowed with an otherworldly brilliance. The shuttle docked at what appeared to be an entrance, a circular hatch that opened as they approached, as if sensing their presence. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. It's inviting us in. Or luring us, Darius muttered, his hand resting on the plasma rifle slung across his chest. Stay alert, Elias said. Lyra, you're in charge of documenting everything. Amara, keep a comlink open to the Odyssey. Let's move. The team stepped into the structure, their boots clanging against the metallic floor. The interior was just as awe-inspiring as the exterior. The walls were lined with conduits of blue energy, casting an ethereal glow. The air was thin but breathable, a testament to the advanced technology maintaining the environment. This place is alive, Lyra whispered, scanning the walls with her handheld device. These conduits are carrying energy, but I can't pinpoint the source. As they ventured deeper, they came across what appeared to be a central chamber. At its heart was a towering obelisk, its surface covered in the same glyphs that adorned the ring. The obelisk emitted a soft hum, and as they approached, the glyphs began to shift, rearranging themselves into patterns that seemed almost purposeful. It's reacting to us, Amara said, her voice tinged with both awe and apprehension. Lyra stepped forward, her device beeping furiously. This obelisk is the key. If we can interface with it, we might be able to learn what this place is, or was. Do it, Elias said, though his instincts told him to tread carefully. Lyra connected her device to the obelisk, and the glyphs flared to life. A holographic projection filled the chamber, displaying a swirling map of stars. The team gasped as they recognized some of the constellations, but many were unfamiliar. This is a star map, Lyra said, her voice shaking with excitement. And these markers, they're coordinates. This isn't just a structure, it's a gateway. A gateway to where? Amara asked. Lyra pointed to a cluster of stars on the map. Here, this system is far beyond the Council's reach. If this gateway works, it could take us there instantly. Elias's mind raced. The implications were staggering. A functioning gateway could give humanity access to uncharted territories, bypassing the Council's controlled trade routes. It could be their ticket to freedom and power. But before he could speak, the obelisk emitted a piercing sound, and the glyphs began to shift erratically. The walls trembled, and the blue conduits pulsed brighter. "Something's happening," Nia shouted, raising her rifle. The holographic map dissolved, replaced by an image of a being unlike anything they had ever seen. Its body was amorphous, constantly shifting between forms, and its voice resonated in their minds. "Who dares awaken the Sentinel?" it boomed. The team froze, staring at the projection. Elias stepped forward, his hand instinctively resting on the hilt of his sidearm. "We are explorers," he said carefully. "We mean no harm." The being's form shifted again, its amorphous body now resembling a towering humanoid. "Explorers? Or conquerors? Your kind is known to us, Terran. Your ambition burns brighter than the stars, and your greed devours all in its path." Elias felt his heart pound. "We've come seeking knowledge, nothing more. If this place belongs to your people, we'll leave." The Sentinel's voice grew cold. "This gateway was built to connect the lost shards of a shattered galaxy. It was never meant for your kind. You are not ready." The glyphs on the obelisk flared violently, and the entire chamber shook. "Leave now," the Sentinel commanded, "or face annihilation." Elias didn't need to be told twice. "Team, back to the shuttle, move!" The team sprinted through the corridors as the structure seemed to awaken around them. Panels slid open, revealing mechanical constructs that emerged with ominous precision. The constructs resembled spiders, their metallic limbs clattering against the floor as they pursued the fleeing humans. "Contact rear!" Darius shouted, firing his rifle. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, striking the constructs and reducing them to smoldering heaps. But more kept coming. "Keep moving," Elias barked. "We're almost there." The team reached the shuttle just as the constructs closed in. Amara activated the hatch and they scrambled aboard. The shuttle's engines roared to life and it launched into space, leaving the ring and its guardians behind. Aboard the Odyssey, the team regrouped on the bridge, their breaths heavy and their nerves frayed. The holographic star map Lyra had recorded floated before them, a tantalizing reminder of what they had found and what they had left behind. "What now?" Amara asked, breaking the silence. Elias stared at the map, his mind already racing with possibilities. As the Odyssey turned away from the mysterious ring, Elias couldn't shake the Sentinel's final words, "You are not ready." He clenched his fists. "We'll see about that." The Odyssey hung in orbit around the barren planet like a vigilant sentinel. On board, Commander Elias Monroe stood on the bridge, staring at the massive ring-shaped structure displayed on the main screen. It had been 2 hours since the discovery, and the magnitude of what lay before them weighed heavily on his mind. "This could change everything," Dr. Lyra Chen said beside him. Her eyes were fixed on the live feed from the probes they'd sent to scan the ring. "If this really is a gateway, it could revolutionize our expansion efforts. We'd be untouchable." Elias nodded, but remained cautious. "If," that's the key word, "we don't know if it's functional or safe to use." Amara Voss, his second in command, leaned against the railing. "Do you think the Council knows about this? They've got spies everywhere. If they catch wind of this—" "They won't," Elias interrupted. "We've maintained stealth protocols, no transmissions, no signatures. This stays between us and Earth Command." Still, Amara's words lingered in the air. The Galactic Council's banishment of humanity was a constant reminder of their precarious position. Humanity's burgeoning Terran dominion had made strides in independence, but their position was fragile. Discoveries like this could tip the balance, but only if handled correctly. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Elias said finally. "We need more data before we make any decisions. Dr. Chen, prepare a team. We're going in." The descent. Hours later, the shuttle approached the structure, its thrusters carefully calibrated to avoid alerting any dormant systems. The team on board was small but carefully selected. Commander Monroe, Amara, Lyra, and 2 security officers, Sergeant Darius Cade and Corporal Nia Torin. Each wore advanced exosuits equipped with oxygen supplies and lightweight armor. As the shuttle neared the ring, its size became even more daunting. The surface of the ring was a tapestry of intricate patterns, glowing faintly with a pulsating blue light that seemed to follow no discernible rhythm. In the center of the ring was a void of inky blackness, a stark contrast to the vibrant blues. "This doesn't look like any gateway I've seen," Amara said, her voice tense. "It's almost organic." Lyra was busy scanning the patterns. Organic or not, these glyphs are fascinating. They're not just decorative, they're functional. They seem to shift in response to our presence. "Let's hope they are friendly," Darius muttered, gripping his plasma rifle. The shuttle's AI identified a docking point, and the ship maneuvered with precision, connecting to an opening that appeared to expand as they approached. The team disembarked, stepping into the structure's hollow interior. A faint hum filled the air, a sound that seemed to resonate in their bones. "Atmosphere is thin but breathable," Lyra reported, glancing at her handheld scanner. "Gravity stable. Whatever maintains this place is still active." Elias led the way, his footsteps echoing against the metallic floor. The walls around them were alive with energy, blue conduits glowing faintly as they walked. "Keep your guard up," he said. "This place is old, but old doesn't mean safe." The central chamber. After navigating a series of twisting corridors, the team emerged into a vast central chamber. At its heart stood a massive obelisk, towering nearly 20 meters high. Its surface was covered in the same shifting glyphs that adorned the ring, and it pulsed with a steady rhythm, as if it had a heartbeat. "Commander," Lyra whispered, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement, "this is it. This is the control node for the entire structure." Elias approached cautiously. "Can you interface with it?" Lyra nodded, already unpacking a portable device from her kit. "If it's compatible, give me a moment." As Lyra worked, Amara scanned the chamber for threats. "Does anyone else feel like we're being watched?" Nia, the younger of the two security officers, gave a nervous laugh. "Let's hope it's just paranoia." Darius didn't laugh. He stood with his rifle at the ready, his eyes scanning every shadow. Suddenly, the glyphs on the obelisk flared brighter, casting the chamber in an intense blue light. The hum in the air grew louder, vibrating through their suits. Lyra stumbled back, her device beeping wildly. "What's happening?" Elias demanded. Before Lyra could answer, a holographic projection filled the chamber. The team froze as the image took shape, a swirling mass of light and shadow that shifted constantly, as if it couldn't decide on a single form. A deep, resonant voice echoed in their minds. "Who dares awaken the sentinel?" The team exchanged uneasy glances. Elias stepped forward, his voice firm but respectful. "We are explorers from the planet Earth. We mean no harm." The sentinel's form solidified briefly, resembling a towering humanoid figure with glowing eyes. Its gaze swept over them, lingering on Elias. "Terrans, your kind is known to us. Reckless, ambitious, dangerous." Elias stiffened. "We've come seeking knowledge. If this place belongs to you, we'll leave." The sentinel's laugh reverberated through the chamber, low and menacing. "This gateway was not meant for your kind. It was built to unite the stars, to heal a fractured galaxy. You are not ready." Lyra, despite her fear, couldn't help but speak. "This technology could help us. We're not here to exploit it. We want to learn." The sentinel's form shifted again, becoming more chaotic. "Learning requires wisdom, and wisdom is forged in restraint. Your kind lacks both." The glyphs on the obelisk began to pulse erratically, and the chamber trembled. The sentinel's voice grew darker. "You have trespassed. Leave now or face annihilation." A fight for survival. Elias didn't wait to see what would happen next. "Fall back! Now!" The team sprinted toward the exit as the chamber came alive with activity. Panels slid open, revealing mechanical constructs that resembled spider-like drones. Their metal limbs clattered against the floor as they moved with unsettling speed, their eyes glowing red. "Contact rear!" Darius shouted, firing his rifle. Plasma bolts streaked through the air, striking the constructs and reducing them to molten heaps. But for every drone he destroyed, more emerged. "Keep moving!" Elias yelled, firing his sidearm as he ran. "Don't stop!" The corridors, once silent, now echoed with the sound of pursuit. The drones were relentless, their glowing eyes a constant reminder of the danger. Lyra stumbled, but Nia grabbed her arm and pulled her forward. "Come on, Doc, no time to stop." The team finally reached the docking point. Amara slammed her hand against the control panel, opening the shuttle's hatch. "Get in! Move!" They scrambled aboard, and the shuttle's engines roared to life. The ship lurched upward, leaving the ring behind. Through the viewport, they could see the drones spilling out of the structure, but they didn't follow. Instead, the ring's glyphs dimmed, and the drones retreated, as if returning to dormancy. The aftermath. Back aboard the Odyssey, the team gathered in the debriefing room. They were exhausted, but the tension hadn't faded. The holographic star map Lyra had recorded hovered in the center of the room, its intricate details mesmerizing. "This isn't just a map," Lyra said, her voice steady despite her shaken nerves. "It's a network. Each marker represents a gateway, and they're all connected. If we can activate this one, it could lead us to countless uncharted systems." Elias studied the map, his expression unreadable. "But the Sentinels said we weren't ready. It didn't want us using this technology." Amara crossed her arms. "Since when do we let someone else decide what we're ready for? The Council thought we weren't ready for interstellar trade, and look where that got us." "She's right," Darius added. "This could be the edge we've been looking for. If we master this technology, the Council won't be able to touch us." Lyra hesitated, but what if the Sentinel was right? What if activating these gateways unleashes something we can't control? Elias finally spoke, his voice calm but decisive. "We don't have the luxury of caution. The Council cut us off, left us to fend for ourselves. If we want to survive, if we want to thrive, we need to take risks. But we'll do it carefully, one step at a time." He turned to Lyra. "Analyze the data, find out how this gateway works. Amara, coordinate with Earth Command. They need to know what we've found." The team nodded, their resolve renewed. As the Odyssey drifted away from the enigmatic ring, Elias couldn't shake the Sentinel's final words, "You are not ready." Humanity had faced such judgments before, and they had always proved their doubters wrong. This time would be no different. The hum of the Odyssey's engines was a steady undercurrent as the ship drifted away from the enigmatic ring. On the bridge, Commander Elias Monroe stood at the tactical station, staring at the holographic star map floating above the console. The intricate web of stars and glowing markers represented potential gateways, each one a door to the unknown. "This is bigger than we ever imagined," Amara Voss said from her seat at the communications station. Her voice was steady, but the tension in her expression betrayed her unease. "If we can control these gateways," Elias nodded, "then Earth has a fighting chance. But we're not rushing into this blind. That Sentinel wasn't just a relic, it was a warning." "You think it was bluffing?" Amara asked. Elias turned to face her, his dark eyes sharp. "No, but bluff or not, it doesn't matter. Earth can't afford to walk away from this." Behind them, the doors to the bridge slid open, and Dr. Leah Chen stepped inside. She looked exhausted, her dark hair in disarray and dark circles under her eyes, but her determination was undiminished. "I've been analyzing the obelisk data," she said, holding up her tablet. "It's remarkable. This gateway network wasn't just a transportation system. It was part of something much larger, an effort to unite a fractured galaxy. The glyphs suggest the builders were trying to repair a cosmic disaster." Elias frowned. "What kind of disaster?" Lyra hesitated. "I'm not sure yet. The records are fragmented, but there are references to something called the ecliptic collapse. Whatever it was, it nearly destroyed them. The gateways were their solution, a way to reconnect and rebuild. But something went wrong." "Let me guess," Amara said. "It's the kind of something that gets people killed." Lyra nodded grimly. That's a possibility. But there's another side to this. If we can harness this network, we might find more than just new worlds. We could find knowledge, technology, far beyond anything the Council has." Elias crossed his arms. "And risks to match. This isn't just about finding new frontiers. It's about what we might wake up along the way." Unraveling the map. In the hours that followed, the bridge transformed into a hive of activity. The star map, projected in the center of the room, became the focal point of their efforts. Lyra led the team of scientists and engineers, their discussions a flurry of equations, hypotheses, and simulations. The map wasn't just a static representation. It was interactive, responding to inputs from their devices. As they studied it, they began to understand the logic behind the glyphs. Each marker represented a gateway, but the pathways between them were not linear. They twisted and folded in ways that defied conventional physics. "This isn't just a map," Lyra explained during a briefing. "It's a blueprint. The glyphs are coordinates, but they're also instructions for activating the gateways. And there's something else. Hidden markers, places not shown on the surface map, but encoded in the data." Amara raised an eyebrow. "Hidden for a reason, I'd bet." Lyra nodded. "Possibly. Or they could lead to the most significant discoveries of all. Either way, we'll need to test the system to know for sure." Elias leaned over the table, his expression unreadable. "What would it take to activate this gateway?" Lyra hesitated. "We'd need to return to the ring and establish a direct link with the obelisk. That's the only way to input the activation sequence. But there's a problem. The Sentinel..." "It called us unready," Amara said. "What if that's more than just a philosophical critique? What if the network won't let us use it?" "Then we find a way around it," Elias said. "We've faced worse odds before. Lyra, prepare the protocols. We'll return to the ring when you're ready." Tensions rising. Not everyone aboard the Odyssey shared Elias's determination. In the ship's mess hall, debates among the crew grew increasingly heated as word of the discovery spread. The promise of the Gateway Network was intoxicating, but it was also terrifying. "I'm telling you, it's a trap," said Marcus Graff, one of the ship's engineers. He slammed his cup down on the table, his voice loud enough to draw the attention of those nearby. "That Sentinel wasn't protecting the gateway for fun. There's something out there we're not meant to find." Across from him, Ensign Tara Hodge shook her head. "And what do you suggest? We pack up and go home? This is our chance to level the playing field with the Council. We can't afford to back down." "That's easy for you to say," Graff shot back. "You weren't in that chamber. You didn't see those drones." "Enough!" barked Sergeant Darius Cade, who had been sitting quietly at the edge of the room. His voice cut through the argument like a knife. "We're all in this together. The commander will make the call, and we'll follow his lead. Understood?" The room fell silent, but the unease lingered. The crew's morale was fragile, stretched thin by the weight of their discovery. It was a reminder of the stakes they faced, not just for themselves, but for all of humanity. Return to the ring. 3 days later, the team was ready. The shuttle descended toward the ring, this time with more caution. They had modified their equipment to shield against the drone's scans and improved their understanding of the glyphs. As they approached the docking point, the ring seemed almost dormant. The glowing patterns were dimmer, and the air inside the corridors was still. "Stay sharp," Elias said, his voice low. "We don't know what's waiting for us." The team made their way back to the central chamber, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The obelisk stood exactly as they had left it, its glyphs pulsing faintly. Lyra set up her equipment, her fingers trembling slightly as she worked. "The activation sequence is complex, but I think I can bypass the Sentinel's restrictions. Just give me time." "You've got 10 minutes, Amara said, her rifle at the ready. Make it count." The room was tense, every shadow a potential threat. Darius and Nia kept watch, their weapons trained on the corridors leading into the chamber. Time seemed to stretch as Lyra worked, the hum of the obelisk growing louder with each passing second. Finally, Lyra stepped back. "It's done. The gateway's ready to activate." Elias approached the obelisk, his hand hovering over the control panel. "Are we sure about this?" "No," Lyra admitted, "but we'll never know unless we try." Elias nodded. He pressed the final glyph. The gateway opens. The chamber erupted with light as the glyphs on the obelisk flared to life. The hymn became a roar, and the air crackled with energy. The void in the center of the ring began to shimmer, forming a swirling vortex of blue and white light. The team stared in awe. It was beautiful and terrifying, a portal to the unknown. It worked," Lyra whispered. "It actually worked." But before anyone could celebrate, the Sentinel's voice filled the chamber once more. "You have awakened the network. You have opened the way." The holographic figure reappeared, its form more chaotic than before. "You seek to claim what is not yours. Be warned. The network will test you. Those who fail will not survive." The projection dissolved, and the vortex stabilized, its light casting long shadows across the chamber. "What does that mean?" Amara asked, her voice tight. Elias didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the vortex. "We've come this far. We're not turning back now." Stepping into the unknown. The shuttle returned to the Odyssey, and the crew prepared for the next phase of their mission. The gateway stood open, its shimmering light a constant reminder of the risks and rewards ahead. Elias stood in the observation deck, staring at the vortex. The weight of his decisions pressed heavily on him, but he knew there was no alternative. "This is what we've been waiting for," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "A chance to break free." The next step would take them into uncharted space, beyond the reach of the Council and into the heart of the unknown. What they would find there no one could say, but one thing was certain: humanity's journey was far from over.